Hi, I'm Leandro Facchinetti, and let's write some code together, shall we? Arya, how are you doing?
Good, I'm good. Took a vacation, feeling refreshed.
Oh, I
How are
didn't know
you?
that.
Yeah, I went to Ottawa. My partner's grandma lives there, and we just had like a couple of days getting the grandma treatment of
Awesome.
being fed well and all of that. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, but I know that you have been busy. You worked on the website, you also worked on your channel. There are new videos.
Hmm. Yeah.
All right. So, what do we have on the menu today, Arya?
Yeah, I think the website is at a functional place. We got all the pages we need. Now we have the links to social media up and running. The domain seems to be working fine. So yeah, I guess let's work on the blog. So migrating the blogs that we have scraped, and then additionally you, I guess, showing me how I would make a new blog,
Sure.
without using Wix.
Exactly. So, last time we said that we would take this opportunity, this migration, to create new routes. And Bo is here. Hey
Mhm.
guys, how is
Hello.
it going? Bo says, and I say,
Hi, Bo.
great, great to have you here. So today it's the big stuff. We are migrating this blog, and these are the old routes. And we are going to take the opportunity that we are migrating anyway, and we are going to come up with new routes. So
Hmm.
I guess the first thing I can do is to just create redirects, right? Because people who have bookmarked this, or people like maybe Google has already crawled this page, and it's a good thing for
Hmm.
URLs to not break. So if someone
Hmm.
visits this, we can redirect them to this new URL.
That would be great because I also won't have to go and edit the description of like 100 videos.
Right. Yes. So let's
Hmm.
start by creating a script that will do this redirect for us. And then we can migrate the content itself to this place. So I guess the first thing I'm going to do is open our trusty Migrate script, which is just a bag of tricks. And I'm going to comment out this one. I don't even really remember what this was doing. I think it was just downloading images. Yes, download images. And then I'm going to start writing a new one. And the first thing that this one has to do is to read this redirects.json file. So it's similar to this one, except that instead of images, it's redirects.
Hmm.
And this one is a mapping from this URL to that other URL. And
Hmm.
truth be told, we don't really need this HTTPS www stuff, right?
Hmm.
And we don't really need this part either, especially because it's wrong.
Hmm.
For instance, when we are working on our machines, you
Hmm.
work on your machine on the blog before you push. I can work on my machine on this blog as well before I push. So in that case, it's not iddqdsound.com, it is localhost. So
Ah.
that URL is kind of misleading. And I'm going to take this opportunity to actually install dependencies in case there are new dependencies. I don't think there are, but
Hmm.
I'm just going to install them, and I'm going to start the server. And this is a local server. So here I have iddqdsound.com. That's the version that is live on GitHub. But I can also now go to localhost. And this is the version, same site, but running on my machine.
Hmm.
So now this redirects, it's an object with this
Hmm.
from to situations. And I guess I'm going to loop over this. So let's say from and to of redirects. And I think I have to say something like object entries. I'm not sure if this is necessary or not. I forget. But let's just console log something just to make sure that we are getting the information as we think that we are. Oh, so now every time I save a file, it is going to regenerate the website, but it's not going to run the migration script. So I still have to go into the migration folder and node migrate that we run. So that is getting the data all right, but...
By the way, quick question about this. So at one point I messaged you because I was updating the social media icons and links and they weren't updating. So the problem was that I had to install the new dependencies. And so just to clarify, that's just because we got some new stuff. But overall, every time I want to go to the website, I don't have to do the npm -i anymore, right? Or is it just safe if I just do it?
Yes. Okay. So let me explain what's going on. We are still developing the website. We are still not just putting new material, but we are changing the way that the website works. Like, I think last time we created some new pages and we added the tooltips, these little guys here. So that sort of thing is sometimes requires installing new dependencies. And I remember that, for instance, this dependency was new last time. So anytime that we add a dependency, anytime that I am developing something new and I say npm install some library, then when I push and you pull, you have to run npm install again, or just npm I, which is short for install. So that's a requirement when I install new things. But even if I did not install anything, if you just run npm install, it's going to check, oh, there is nothing new for me to install. So, okay, I'm just going to do nothing. Everything is up to date. So it's always safe to run npm install, but it's not always required to run npm install. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, and once this settles and we have the website in place and all the dependencies have been installed and you're just creating new content, just adding a new blog post, you don't have to npm install again for that.
Cool.
Okay, so the script is working in the sense that it requires this object entry situation, and we have the from and the to. So I'm going to create, I guess I'm going to put a comment here so we remember. This is like create redirects. And for this to work, I will have to, there are plenty of ways to do this, but I guess the simplest is to just create a folder with this structure and put an index.js, an index.html file in there. But this index.html file is just something that tells the browser, go to this other location.
Okay.
So let's try this. First, we have to create this folder structure. So what do I have here in terms of file system stuff? I only have fs promises. So I think I'm going to install something else. See, now this is a situation where if you wanted to run the migration scripts and you have already installed the dependencies for the migration, then you would have to install dependencies again. Now, it's important to keep track of the different dependencies. We have the dependencies for building the website. These are the dependencies that you have to install when you are working on your machine. I have to install when I'm working on my machine. Then there are the dependencies for the browser. These are dependencies like fonts and the TP library that does the tooltip. Those are things that we need to publish to GitHub pages. It's not just for working on our machine. And these are things that actually are pushed to the browser when someone goes to iddqdsound.com. So there are already two sets of dependencies for development, things that we push to the browser. And then there are this third set of dependencies, which is like things that we need just for the migration. When the migration is over, we're going to delete this directory and this is going to go away. But in the meanwhile, I need some libraries to do things like download stuff from the web and parse HTML, that sort of thing that is only necessary for the migration. So again, a situation where I'm installing a new dependency for migration only. And what I'm interested in right now is FS Extra, which is just a library that gives you some more file system methods to use.
Mm-hmm.
And then over here, I can say something like fs dot ensure directory. And I'm going to await for this to be over. And the directory is going to be, first of all, I need to go up one level because I am in the migration folder. Then I am going to create something that looks like this, I suppose. So it's just going up one level and then from, right? Because from is this string.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm going to create a file that will be one level up in that folder, and it will be called index.html. And I want to write some HTML here, so I'm going to require my liafac HTML library that I don't think is installed in this context. So I'm going to install it real quick.
By the way, I remember I had to manually scrape a couple of blogs. I did that, but I forgot to push. Is it a safe time to push to just redirects.json?
Oh.
And it's just one link. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, no, actually I changed stuff here. So if you try to push, it will conflict. Actually, it will not conflict. So here's what you can do. You can push, because I have not pushed yet. So I made changes, but you can see that I didn't push. That means that if you push, then the conflict will be on my side. And then I can solve the conflict. And you can do it together, of course, but it will be on my machine.
Cool. Also, I guess on this one, on the link of the new one is no longer iddqdsound.com, but it's like the new type of URL that's generated for non-paying Wix customers. So maybe we would just need to do something kind of different for that. But because of that, I put it like in the very last line.
Okay, it's fine. Just push whatever you have, and I think you already did, right? Because I can see a little one here. So now there is nothing else on your machine that you haven't pushed, right?
Yes, I think no.
Okay, so I'm going to finish this idea of this script.
Sure.
And then I am going to pull your changes, solve the conflict, and then we'll go from there. So
cool.
I think that this is already something that is going to create some files in the right locations. So let's just run migrate and see what it does. So expect to see a post folder, and in that folder I expect to see one folder per post that we are redirecting, and then in there some index.html that is currently empty because we didn't fill in the contents yet. That's right. That's exactly what I expected to happen. So now I am going to quickly Google for HTML redirect, and so when there are results like in Portuguese, I try to avoid them. When there are results from W3 docs, I try to avoid them. I don't really trust these sources. I also don't trust W3 schools. They have excellent search engine optimization because they always show up at the top, but I don't trust them very much. But I do trust Stack Overflow, and sometimes CSS Tricks is also a great source, and sometimes I just append MDN because MDN is the Mozilla Developer Network, and this documentation is usually good.
Mozilla used to be very good. I've had problems with it, and then I just gave up on it. But it used to be my favorite browser.
Oh, yeah. I cannot claim to have a favorite browser. I install all of them, and I have to use all of them because I have to make sure that everything I create will work in all of them, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. So in this HTML file, what we want to have is I want to eliminate the spaces from the beginning and the end of this string. So I'm going to say .trim at the end. I'm going to switch mode to HTML real quick so I can have some boilerplate going. Switching back to JavaScript now. And then here, I don't need this stuff. But we'll have something like... now, you can see that I'm hard coding the address here, and that's because I believe it's a good idea for this address to be absolute, not relative to our machine, like these addresses are relative to our machine. I think that it's a good idea for this redirect stuff to be absolute. And 2, right? So it's going to point at this location.
Cool.
And then this page has moved to, and I'll put this address here again. And just for good measure, in case your browser doesn't comply to the standards and is not able to actually do the redirect for whatever reason, then I'll put a link here as well saying exactly the same thing.
This is what people will see if they click on like an older link before they are redirected.
They may not even see that because the browser knows that it needs to go to another location so fast that the content may just flash momentarily, if ever, on the screen. It's going to be super fast. Because when the browser has started parsing and rendering this, it has already parsed this, so it knows it needs to go somewhere else. So it is, usually it's smart about this.
Cool.
Not always. Okay, so let's see the contents of the HTML file now is what we expect. I think there is an extra slash everywhere, so I'm going to fix that. Not that it matters. I don't think it matters. I'm going to fix it anyway. I think that the two URLs are equivalent, but not having the slash is probably better. So now the extra slash is gone, and then we can just go in our local development server. We can go to this URL /that, and we expect to be redirected to somewhere in the new website over at iddqdsound.com, but that page doesn't exist yet. So if the browser goes to somewhere and gets a 404, I don't exist, that's exactly what we want.
Cool.
See, the content flashed on the screen real quick, in my case. And there you go, a 404. So another thing we may want to do, right? I'll put it here on the list of things to do. We probably want to have a custom 404.
Oh.
For instance, when you go to this page and it doesn't exist yet, you can have something with your brand instead of like the GitHub error page.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and let's just double check with other sources to make sure that what we are doing is the right way of doing it. And it seems like they have some extra quotes here, but other than that, it seems fine. So yeah, I think that our redirects worked. And now we are ready to solve the merge conflict that will happen. So I'm going to git pull origin main. Oh, it is going to merge automatically.
I guess I just added one new line and didn't touch anything else. So that's why it's, yeah. It should be at the bottom. Yeah.
That guy. Okay.
Yeah.
So how about we just add
a comment
this entry? Let's see if we have all the slashes and everything in the right way.
Looks like it. By the way, URLs are not case sensitive, right? Doesn't matter at all.
Well, it's not as simple. So yeah, maybe that's something that we can talk about. URLs may be case sensitive. It depends on the server. And I know for a fact that in the GitHub Pages server, URLs are case insensitive. But it depends on the server. So a good practice is to not capitalize anything. And that way you'll never run into issues.
Cool.
But it's up to you.
I
If
guess
you want
like
to have,
in the case of hexadecimal code, like if you have percentage capital F, you can't have that be lowercase f, right? That would mean something else.
no, F is an F and it means 15 regardless of capitalization.
Okay.
Yeah. So my advice is that we, first of all, I'm going to commit this because we changed something, right?
Sure.
And I think I need to run the migration script again. It will create one new page, this page.
Cool.
But yeah, my advice is that you don't put capital letters here, but it's up to you. It doesn't really matter. Same with the folders and everything, and spaces and everything. In theory, it should work. Doesn't really matter, but in practice, I don't think it's a good idea.
Cool. No spaces, no capitals. I guess we can even change it now so that we don't.
There you go.
Cool.
So I'm going to run the migration script, which will change the capitalization in all the redirects.
Cool. Oh, so now we have one index.html for every blog post.
Yes. In the old location, we have a folder and an index.html that is just a redirect. And you can see that now the capital M is a lowercase m, so that worked. Then I guess following this idea that will not have capitalization, then I think I can change the media folder as well.
Yeah.
Do you want to go into that can of worms, because there are lots of stuff in here with capitalized names and spaces.
Like also not having names and spaces in any of the media?
It's an option. Usually when I do stuff, I don't put spaces. For instance, if you go to my website, check the URL for my resume, which is a PDF. See, no spaces, no capitalization, no nothing.
Cool.
But it works.
Okay,
it is working right now. If you go to iddqdsound.com and you look at the URL for this image, capitals and spaces and underscores, it's all there. So it works. But as a convention, I usually avoid that. It's completely up to you.
Maybe for we'll keep these as is, but from now on I will just use dashes and all lowercase.
It's up to you. Okay, so this redirect stuff is done. Now we need to actually get a hold of the content, right? So the content is over here in this post folder, and we have corresponding files here. For instance, 5 awesome custom actions, blah, blah, blah. So this corresponds to this HTML file. And what we want is to have something over blog misc 3. So we want to have a folder, not under migration, but a folder over here at the top level that will be blog misc and then something, maybe like the number 0, I guess, was one of the URLs. No, number 3. And we want the content of the index.html over here to be based on this, but not exactly the same. We don't want to just copy and paste this file over, because this file has the Wix template, and we now have a new template. So we want to apply the content from this file into the right location. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to start maybe like blog content migration. And this will be like, I guess, the most fun part of all, right?
Yeah.
We finally get here.
It breaks my brain, but I'm sure it's not breaking your brain, so cool.
Yeah, so I guess what we can do is let's work with a small example. So do you have your favorite blog post? What is your favorite blog post from your website?
Oh, well, that's a great question. I think early on I was doing a lot more detailed stuff, and then towards the end I've gotten shittier. So let's go down. I think actually my favorite is sound design for visual media episode. I think it's episode 0 and 1. Yeah, or probably maybe it's kind of later. I got better at some stuff, but I think this will have like images and GIFs and video links and everything. So it'll have like a good sample of all the stuff.
Okay, so let's start this for something more challenging. Let's start with something easier.
Okay, easy. For easy, then just do maybe like the SWS snapshots one. That would just have images and links, nothing else.
Okay, so this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to save this for later, and let's start with the easy stuff.
Sure.
Also, I don't want to work on everything in here, so I guess I'm going to create another file. Well, maybe not. How about I just have a for loop? I guess I'm going to start in a similar way to this. Except that this will be commented out, and we'll do a redirect that is fake, and that is only this entry.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll do a for loop. In spirit, it's similar to this. And I don't really care about the from. No, I do. I do care about the from, because the from is the file name that we are getting here. All right. So, oh, and everything is named so conveniently that this from has post slash, and in our migration folder we have post slash. So if I just remove the dot from the beginning, this from is the file that we have, the HTML file. I think we also need a .html at the end though. Like so. And if I read file, and this file is UTF-8, then this is the old HTML. Mm-hmm. And now, to make things simple for ourselves, well, what we want is to have a folder. So let's fs ensure dir. And this folder, we need to go one level up to get away from this migration folder. So let's go one level up. And then let's create a folder with this structure. Then we are going to write a file that is going to be one level up in that location, and it will be called index.markdown. See where I'm going?
I see where you're going with this, yeah.
And then what do we write there? For now, to keep things simple, I'm going to write the old HTML in there.
Okay.
So this is just a stupid way of copying a file over. I'm reading the file, I am creating another directory, and I'm writing a file in that location.
Cool.
Let's run the migration script, and I expect to see, it failed. Oh, and that's because I have a slash in the beginning of the file. So I'll put a ./ here, and that will tell the operating system to go into the current folder. And in the to, I also have a / in the beginning. So I'm going to say something like this. There you go. So now we are going to run the migration again, and no errors, which is a good thing. Then we have a folder called blog, a folder called, this was the one I created before by hand. This is the one that was created now. You can see that this redirect is rapid fire Reaper tutorials 86 index HTML. And then now that this file exists, it triggers this other file here, which is our static website generator. And it's going to treat this Markdown as HTML, and it is going to create a page here. So it is going to be the Wix template embedded in our template.
Oh, okay.
Which doesn't really make sense. That doesn't really make sense. But
we're just testing.
Yes. And for some reason, it got stuck. So I don't know what was going on there.
Maybe Wix has a stop thing in their code. Stop anybody who copies this.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. It's not finishing. So let's go to our index.js file. And let's maybe log the file that we are about to transform. This way we can be 100% sure that it's getting stuck in the right file. Yeah, it gets to this file and then it gets stuck. So let's read this over to see if there is something obviously wrong. It is just creating a directory. It is writing, I don't even know why it's creating a directory, because the Markdown file is always on the same directory as the HTML, but I guess it doesn't hurt to have it there. Then it is writing a file, which is the file HTML. That is right. It seems right to me. And oh, it finished. So it just took a long while, which is odd, but it finished. So let's see what's there. All right, so that doesn't look too good, does it?
Yeah, it looks crazy.
But see, your content is there. All we gotta do is extract it. So I suppose we can start with something relatively easy. But you know what? I think I'm gonna like commit what we have before I continue. I think I like this idea of showing which file I'm working on right now. That may be handy further down the road. So I think I'm going to do something like this. This way it is really clear what we are working on right now. So I think I'm going to keep this change, and then over at the migration script, we have our silly copy and paste, but in a weird way. And this is like a huge file. So maybe that's why it took so long. It's not that huge anyway. I don't know. We'll see. Let's commit what we have. So one thing that I know how to do, and it's relatively easy, is these images. Oh, right now, they are still pointing at the Wix location. But we downloaded all these images. So we know that they are in this folder. Where is it? Migration, post, not post, images.
Maybe in media. Oh, okay, there it is, yeah.
Yeah, so somewhere in here, we should find that same image. So let's go to the Migrate script. And instead of just writing the old HTML, we are going to transform the old HTML in some ways. And we are going to write the new version with the images in the new location.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so let me think. We have a JSON. Yeah, there we go. So this images JSON is our map. This is the URL that we are going to find in the code right now. This kind of URL. And the index in this array is the name of the image over in the images folder.
In the images.
Right?
Cool. Yeah.
So let's load this images JSON file. And I think one thing we can do is let's start this new HTML that starts as old HTML. Maybe let's just have something that is like, I don't know, the HTML. It cannot be called HTML, I guess, because we are using HTML, the library as well. We don't want a conflict with the name. I don't know what to call this. I'll call it aria for now. So we have the aria variable that we want to transform. So for each one of the images, remember, these images are the old path. So what we want to do is, for each one of them, we want to say aria.replace all the image with images index of image. So this index of function will return the index for this entry in this list. And so that's going to do the replacement, but it is not exactly just the index that we want. We want the whole path, right? So how about we first ensure that this directory exists, then we copy file from images. So the folder is called images / and then we do this bit. And sometimes it's .png and sometimes it's .gif and JPEG. So, we could look at the extension of the file itself to get the extension to use, right? And I suppose that they are always 3 letters.
PNG, JP, yeah, even zip, GIF, yeah.
So if I have something like this, now I'll be the first to admit that what I'm doing is kind of hacky. But if I slice to -3, I get just the extension. So right now I'm getting this extension. So I think that this is the path to the image that we want to copy from. And now where do we want to copy to? We want to copy to this folder. And what I'm doing is I'm copying these images so that they are in the same folder as the blog post itself. So for instance, if there is an image associated with this post, it will be under this folder.
Cool, smart.
And in terms of the name of the image, I think I'm just going to keep the current name of the image because I don't have any more meaningful names to use at this point, right? The more meaningful names have already been obliterated by Wix. Now this is the name of our file. And there's nothing here that we can use.
No.
So I'll just keep the name. Probably I can have something like a name variable that will be this. So there you go. We copied over this name from images to the to location, to the blog post folder. And then when doing the replacement, we want to have essentially this path. Not quite exactly the same. We don't want the // in the beginning. We want it like this. Because over here in the Migrate Script folder, on the Migrate Script, we are in this migration folder, but this is the URL that is going to show up in the HTML file called aria for now. And this HTML file needs to have an absolute path. And that's what this 2 is right now.
Cool.
So I think that this is going to work out. Let's run the migration script and see. Okay, it failed to find images. Oh, that is a weird extension, isn't it?
Peg? Yeah, why would it be peg?
Probably because of the name of the image was JPEG like this. So our assumption that the 3 less letters would be enough is not correct. What can we do about this?
It's interesting because I'm seeing it's all .jpg on my end, but you're right. It's definitely a JPG turned into JPEG, and then we just took the last 3.
See, this is the offending guy.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's only one of them. So how about I just turn this into JPG, and then I look in this folder, the images folder, I look for the JPEG guy, and I rename that as well.
Yeah, looks like
the motto here is we are doing the fastest thing we can to fix whatever issue we have. They not really seem to find the JPEG. That's that guy. So with that, we can go into the migration folder and run the migration again. And this time it didn't throw any errors, which is a good sign. So, and it copied a lot of images into that folder, but not all of them. Oh, I think I'll know what the issue is. It copied all of them. So the problem is that we are not even checking that some replacing has occurred. We are always just copying everything, which is not what we want. So,
like all the images to the single blog folder kind of deal?
Yeah, it's just messed up. So what we want is to check. This aria, which is our HTML, include, I guess, image. Does it include image? If it includes image, then copy the image folder and then replace everything. Right, and now that this is in this messed up state, I'm going to stop the server and everything. I'm going to go back into the blog folder and just delete the whole folder. Now the migration ran, and over in the blog folder, we have some images, but not all of them. So these are just the images that were used in this blog post.
Sounds correct, yeah, because there are some that I guess are shared in all the blogs, so that would be like 0 and 1 and 8, and then the others are the most recent images, so that makes a whole lot of sense.
Fair, yeah, so it seems like these 3 we don't really need. This is probably something that we are not going to use. This is probably something that we are not going to use because it's just like your logo, but we already have your logo. Right. And this is probably going to be part of a template, but not part of a blog post.
Cool. That would be great.
Yeah, that's coming
we
up
talked
next.
about this.
As I said, I'm doing the low-hanging fruit here, which is just to do a replacement on the images. But we'll need to write a lot more code to actually extract the content, because there is the whole Wix layout around the content. We'll have to extract the content. And I'm trying to do the easy stuff first.
Cool.
So it seems like that much is working. So how about we start the server and we look at the page now. So it should still look the same, but if I go check, for instance, the search for this image and I open it in a new tab, it should not be pointing at Wix. It should be pointing at our website, at localhost in this case, and it should still be served correctly, should still show up just the same. It's the same image, just coming from a different place. And I really hope that when we extract the content, get rid of all the Wix template, that this will be a lot faster, like night and day faster. Because you can see that the bio, music, and reel are super fast. So I see no reason why this should be slow. I think it's just all the material around that is making like everything super slow. In any case, it is done. So now I can refresh this page and the image is still there. But if I open it in a new tab, then, oh man, it's not pointing at the same location. Nope, still pointing at Wix.
Could it be that it's just going to take like a bunch of time?
No, I think I know what the mistake is. This replace all doesn't change the area variable. I have to do it like this. Now, because of this mistake, I will have to run the script again. And this is a constant, so I have to say let run the script again. Yeah, so another thing that we may want to work on is the fact that anytime we change one of the files, it's recreating the rest of the website, which is kind of silly. So you can probably work on this. It's not too hard.
So like when I make a new blog, it just needs to update really one page, then need to update everything else.
Yeah, and if you change the layout, then it needs to recreate the whole blog, but just once. So I'll put here a to-do, which is only recreate pages that changed. There we go. So it's done now, and I saved the README file, so it's triggering a new build, but never mind that. We can just refresh this and put this guy here, and nope, it's not changing the file name. So there's something else that is wrong on my script. I'll refresh without a cache, just for good measure, in case it is some sort of weird cache, but I don't think it is. I think it's a mistake in the script. Yeah, it's still pointing at the Wix stuff. It shouldn't, so I'm stopping that. And I'm not going to commit these images because they're heavy, but I can commit this guy. I want to commit this renaming. And I can commit everything else. So now we really have to investigate. I am doing a replace all, and it's just not working. It's not picking up. So let's go to the assumptions again. We have this redirect. Oh, we have these images just coming from images JSON. So for instance, one of these guys. And let's search for this image in the whole website, and it is there. Particularly by coincidence, I think, it is there in this file, which is the one that we're working on right now.
Oh, you just picked one at random, but it happened to be there?
No, I guess it's because it starts with a B, so it's the first on the list. Oh, but yeah, I picked a file name at random, but it's not really random. It's the first. And the first is probably that image that we are not even going to use, right? Because it's the 0.png file. So
yeah, that would be the top header thing. Yeah,
and I think that one is in every page, but it is not changing. So it's not going to the new location that we have. So something is wrong in my script here. Let's reread the script and try to find what could be wrong. So images is this whole list. Then I am reading the file and I'm calling this the aria file. I'm gonna call this like the migration HTML. There you go. I have a better name for this now. So I'm creating a directory, and then I'm going to start copying images, and the image is being copied. So this includes is working. So really what is not working is this line. Right? This line is never changing anything. Yeah, let's investigate the Markdown file that is being generated. And I think I can already see where this is being used. I mean, it is being used in a couple of places, but this should have been renamed. It wasn't. I think I'm gonna do something silly, which is to console log the migration HTML file. And then I'm going to run the script, but I'm going to pipe the results to pb copy. That is going to put the results in my clipboard. And then for whatever reason, the script is super slow. But I'm going to create now a new buffer. I'm going to paste whatever is on my clipboard, which should be the HTML file that we are processing. And I did this copying. I console log. Visual Studio Code crashed.
Oh boy. Yeah, your audio got a little glitchy too for a bit.
It seems like working on websites is the slowest thing I do on my streams. It is the heaviest duty thing that I do on my streams. Recording songs,
So
no-brainer. Working in JS effects, not an issue. Working on websites, absolutely super, super powerful computing thing to do.
Very interesting. When a script is like slow, is that because there's like a loop that's too long, like something like that, right? It's not like there's too many lines. Or is that the number of lines to 202,000?
Yes, and I closed that buffer because of this. Yes, this HTML file is going absolutely bananas in terms of size, which makes no sense because the original HTML is just 900 lines of code. So probably that's why the static website generator part of things was slow as well. So I'm probably doing some mistake here, doing something wrong. I think exploding this file.
Like replace all, even though I have no expertise. I'm like, replace all sounds heavy duty.
What it was supposed to do was to find a name like this and replace all occurrences of that name with this string, which is also a small string. But there is a bug. There is a bug somewhere. And I'm not even sure I have an idea of where to start with this. For one thing, Visual Studio Code is like absolutely super slow right now.
Yeah.
And probably the stream is suffering as well. So maybe the first thing I'll do is just quit Visual Studio Code altogether.
Sure.
And restart Visual Studio Code.
So you know how you're replacing all instances of that image? What if we just did the instance that we see? Because maybe it is like looking at every post every time it sees an image, you know? And in reality, actually, there's very few instances of the same image being used elsewhere. So could that be the thing?
Well, the way that this works is we have a loop of over just this one blog post. Ultimately, we are going to comment this out and remove this, so it's going to run over all blog posts, but we are far from that because we still have to write the code that is going to fetch the content from the HTML. So right now we are just working on one post, and there is no reason why this should be slow. It is such a simple thing to do. Rename a bunch of strings into a string. It is like a no-brainer for a computer. It's supposed to be absolutely super, super, super fast. There is a bug in the code.
Uh-huh. Oh, so we're just changing names right now. We're not even working in any way with images at all.
Yes, exactly. We are moving files, we are copying files, but that much is fast. It's just copying files, and it's copying 10 files. And the files are not big. So, no, the issue really is there is a logic problem here in this script. There is a nasty bug in these 10 lines of code. I have no idea where it is, and we have to figure out a way to debug this. And I'm not even sure I understand how to even debug this. I think what I want to do is to start with what if I just open this HTML file in Visual Studio Code? What would that look like? So it is the SWS snapshots file. And it is not such a big file. It's less than 1,000 lines of code. And if I look, for instance, for this string in there, it occurs there. There is one instance of this. So yeah, let's start writing a throwaway script that is just for sanity. So just to really make sense whatever shenanigans is happening here. I'm not even sure what to do now. So I'm going to start writing a new script. I'm going to call this script aria. And I'm going to borrow some things from the migration script. For instance, this require. And I will do this bit, which is necessary for running some asynchronous stuff. And in here, I'm just going to have my aria string. And I'm going to read file, which is going to be UTF-8. And where is this file? It is at this location here. And I'll console log aria. Baby steps. Baby's crying, so we'll do baby steps. So yeah, this is fast. It prints out the file.
Cool.
Now, let's try to replace all the same way that we are replacing all here. Let's replace all in aria. And because I'm replacing the variable, I have to let instead of const. And we are going to replace all occurrences of this with hello. That's still fast, as expected. I'm going to output this into aria HTML. And let's open aria HTML and try to find that string. It's no longer there. Can we find hello? Yes, we can. So that replacement is working, see? And it is fast. So I can, for the life of me, I cannot seem to find what is wrong with this script.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't, I don't even know how I can be of any use.
Well, the weird thing is that this is blowing up, right? It's creating a file with 200,000 lines of HTML. So that makes no sense.
Yeah.
What if instead of doing all the images, we just do one of the images? That should speed things up, and it may illuminate the issue. I guess I'm going to have it like this. These are the things that we want to do eventually, and these are the small cases that we are working with right now. And so I'm reading the same file. What if let's start transforming the aria script into the migrate script, right? So I'm going to remove the aria script. I already got everything I wanted from it, I think. And I'm going to comment all of this out. And I'm just going to console log the migration HTML. So it is coming back. It is being fast. Then what if I try to replace all? But I will replace all with maybe this string. Let's hard code this string. Well, I can just say images at 0. That's that string. And I will replace that with hello. It is working. It's too fast. If I output that to aria HTML and go to aria HTML, then I'm going to try to find this string and I should fail. But I succeed. And I should look for hello and I should succeed. But I fail. So
so we are not.
That's because my console log is before. It should be after. Now, if I look for hello, I succeed. And if I look for this string, I should fail. All right, so that much is working. Now, let's try to do some of this logic, which is to loop over this array and do a replacement for all images. So all I gotta do is, I guess, move some of the lines below and uncomment some of this stuff. So you can see how my script is starting to look like the thing I had before, right? So to do this replacement, I don't go to image that's at 0, I go just to image. And in terms of what I want to replace with, maybe I'll leave this commented out. I will replace image with hello. Okay. And if I look for hello, it still works. Okay, so that much is still working. Now let's replace with this. So I guess at that point I might as well do that. So now let's do this again and look for hello. And now I can no longer find hello, because I'm not using hello as the string anymore. I'm using this. Now, what is characteristic about this is that it ends with 0 dot, I want to say PNG.
I think it's mostly PNG, yeah. If it's
all right, so this is working. And how are we in terms of size? Still 1,000 lines. We shouldn't change this line count. We are just replacing parts of one line. So you see, now this is really weird because I have nothing else to do but to comment this out, or to uncomment this and to comment this out, because I already did all the things, except of course for like actually moving the images. Yeah, I don't know. Let's remove this and bring in all the images. So it's still fast. And I should look for something like .png, 0.png. It's still there. So that one is working.
Cool.
And I should not be able to find this string. And I'm not. But there are still some Wix images. But I guess that's okay because those are like fav icons. Just like the little icon that appears over here when you go to that page. So it's a small image like this one. But in the body of the post, when I am using something like an image tag, all of them should be pointing at our version of the website. And it is pointing at our version. This is getting weirder and weirder, don't you think?
But I thought then that means you solved it, no?
But I didn't do anything. I'm just investigating
like
the issue, and I don't really have an
you
answer.
didn't change anything, but it's like now working.
Yeah, it's so strange.
Could it be possible that like because we're using the Wix code, there's something in it to make things heavy? I don't know.
No. At this point, it's just a file text on our machine, and it's not even a big one. It's a very short file text.
Right.
It's less than 1,000 lines of code. I mean, some of the lines are long, and that's why it is weird. Like, if you look at this line, for instance, it's long. It's a very long line.
Right.
It is a 2,000 characters long, but still, it's a short file. It's a small file. What is it? 1 megabyte? Bo is saying maybe cache issue. Maybe. You can check that. But let's look at the post folder, and our files are like 1 megabyte. That's nothing. So no, something else that is very spooky is happening. Let me uncomment all these sections, and I will not console log anymore. And that ran, and it moved some files over. And let's look at this. And it is 1,000 lines long, so I don't know. And we should see something like 0 PNG. It's there. And we see some images.
We see one, we see...
Yeah, we see 9 of them.
Cool, and that's exactly how many was in the folder, so that's great.
Oh, yeah, good point. So let's run this again to generate the HTML based on this Markdown. And this has no reason to be slow, but it's okay because we are still going to clean this up a whole lot, and then it's going to be faster. But let's investigate this HTML file when it's generated. And I think I'm going to commit the changes to this file while we wait.
I'll be RB.
Okay. Hello, we're back. So the script finished running, and we should now be able to investigate this index.html file that was generated. It grows a little bit. It's not as short as before. It's now 1,800. It doubled almost. But that's because of the whole Markdown processing that we are doing. It is going to change some of the material in the page, and that doubled the size, but still a very short file. And if I look for the /blog/ see, it's there. So the images are in the new location. Now, let's try to look at this one, and it should be in the new location. And it is. So maybe it was a cache issue like Bo said this whole time. I don't know. I tried to refresh the page without a cache, but these things are weird, and I think
But
the
script was still relatively slow, right? Like it wasn't as slow as before, but it still took some time to generate this file, right?
Oh yeah, the migration script is fast, but the Markdown rendering, when it sees so much HTML, gets a bit slow, it seems.
Cool.
But yeah, I think that the migration script is doing its thing, and it is migrating the images. So success.
Woo.
To some extent. Now let's try to get a hold of the content. And I think that maybe the best way to do this is to look at the... Maybe let's look at the page as it exists on Wix running right now. We have a hold of this page. And
Yeah.
I'm going to copy this URL and open it in Chrome. And let's go to that blog post, which is
in blog, and it should be the one to last blog post.
So I have to scroll to the bottom, right?
No, it's top first.
Ah, okay. So it is this one, SWS snapshots. Yeah. Okay. And now we can like play around with the page and see what could be the best way to extract. Maybe let's start with the title. Okay, so let's try to extract this title. What do we have in this HTML structure to help us? We have a class called blog post title. That is almost too easy, isn't it? Yeah, we have blog post title font and blog post title color. So how about we do the following? We try to find in the document any classes. These are classes. So we'll try to find a class that starts with blog post title. And I think we found it. This is our title. So let's go back to our script, and we'll have to parse this HTML to be able to run code that looks like this. So I'm going to install a dependency for the migration script. I'm in the right folder, so I can just npm install JS-DOM. And I can import the JS-DOM. Oh, it was already installed. So, and it's already required even, so I can just start using it. So right now we have this migration HTML, but how about I do maybe just document equals new JS-DOM of migration HTML dot window dot document. And then instead of writing the whole migration HTML file, I'm going to write some Markdown. This Markdown will look like a title. And let's have a second level title. And I can look in the document for this guy and look at its text content. And I think I'm going to do this whole replacement of images situations before I even parse the file. This way, when I get a hold of this migration HTML, all the images have already been renamed. Not that it matters too much, because at this point we are only looking at the title, but when we look at the images, they will already have their right location, which is good. And I think that is all I want to do. Let's see. If I run the migration script now, it should generate this. There we go. It generated this index.html file, which is just the title. Cool stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Now, this made everything faster again, right? If I run the migration script, then this thing picks up and it's blazing fast.
Boom.
So
Beautiful.
now this is so cool that I actually want to give it a try with like all the posts. And I'm going to save the changes to the migration script before I move on. Now, I'm doing this first because it's cute. We are going to see all the titles, but also because I want to see if this trick is going to work on all pages or if this is a one-trick pony. We'll see. So now this is going to be a bit slower because it's going to parse the HTML for all the pages that have ever existed. So going to take a while. But it's producing files. It should be producing files as it goes. Now my computer is all slow again.
But I can see this, like it created the subfolders. It's creating.
Yeah, it is creating subfolders as we speak. And in the index.html file, we see the titles there.
Woo!
Yeah, it started to take shape. So I think we have enough. If this worked, it has already worked. So let's leave this. And this is now creating the HTML files for all your blog posts based on the Markdown files. And it's done. So it's not too slow. It's not too fast either. Let's look at this page now. And it has a title there.
By the way, like this system of doing like Octothorpe, like the hashtag symbol, 2 of them, and then it becomes a bold title. That's like the fact that I can do that is because I installed your libraries, right? That's part of that.
Yes, this syntax is Markdown, and we have a library to parse the Markdown and transform it into HTML. It is the Remark library. Yeah.
Cool.
So here's something we can do. What I want to do is to check if the titles are correct. So to do this, I'm going to play a little trick. I am going to go into the blog folder and I think I'm just going to find all the files that end in Markdown. Oh no, I cannot remember how to use this. Oh no, that's so bad. Oh, there we go. So these are all the Markdown files, and I think I can just cat them. So I have no new line at the end of the file, as you can see in an example here. It's just the title and then bam, no new line. I could probably just put a new line at the end like so, but I didn't. So it's all in a single line, but we can see if all the titles make sense or if there is some gibberish. And it seems like everything holds water here. Everything seems to be correct.
Yeah, it's looking good.
And I think that at the end, you will have the homework of going through every post just to double check. Like, open every URL, take a look. But it seems like this works.
Kind of deal.
Sorry?
Like, just kind of proofread them, see if there's not like some weird code or anything like that,
exactly,
right?
Yeah.
Sure.
So let me delete the blog folder right now. And yeah, it seems like our little snippet to extract the title works. Now let's try to extract the body of the material, the contents of the post. And have they made our lives easy? What is the structure of this HTML? There is a div that seems to span through the whole content. And only the content, we hope. Yes. So this div has the content and only the content. So that's cool. What is around this GIF that maybe we can use? There is a style. There's a lot of stuff going on here. There are like 1,000 GIFs, but we have this article. That's a cool tag for us to use. It's the blog post page front, and it also contains the article and only the article. So that's good. So we probably want to hang on to the article tag. Or maybe even the post content body. That is also a good one. I'm going to start taking notes here. So I think I want to use probably this tag or maybe article. And if I just dump this into the Markdown, then something will come out. So what if we try that? Something will come out if we just dump the article into the Markdown. It will get rid of all the structure, all the...
Everything outside the body.
Yeah,
basically.
it will get rid of the template around. It will get rid of this menu. It will get rid of this. It will get rid of your name and everything. It will get rid of the footer, the recent posts, even the social media links. It will just include the things that are in this blue rectangle in the page. So
beautiful.
I think that's a good start. We'll try that. Let's see. So I'm going to say that this is like the title, and this is going to be the body. I'm going to say document query selector of... I'm going to go with article. Let's see if that gets the article, because there may be multiple article tags in the page. I think there is only one, but never hurts to actually check. Yeah, this is the first one or the only one. Phew. And I'm just going to get the inner HTML from this guy. And I don't want to do this with all the posts, so I am going to return to just working on that one post. And I think I can remove this because I kind of already proved that this is going to work. So let's run the migration script. And again, it was super fast, which is good. And let's look at the index.html file. So this is a bunch of junk. I'm going to be the first to admit that. But this may be... I think it's a step in the right direction. So let's run the server and look at this page. And it's already faster, see? Because we don't have all that junk around, it is significantly faster. Let's see what this looks like. All right, it's not perfect. It didn't get rid of your name.
Right.
And it has some junk here. But I can see progress.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, totally. And the links are preserved, like the hyperlinks. Those are intact. Yeah, lovely.
It's not bad.
One thing I'm seeing isn't preserved is like the like italics, bold state of things, and also right where you are on snapshots filter options, they are like in new lines, but here they are in continuous lines. There's no line break, but otherwise all the text seems to be intact.
Yeah. So let's see how they're doing bold. They are doing that with a strong tag. And over here, we do have a strong tag. So the links are not, the strong or bold and italics or AMs, they are not being preserved because of CSS. We are not displaying them right. But that's an easy fix. I can just go to our CSS, which is here, and then where do we even display content? Over here. So we already have styles for links, we have styles for headings. How about we have a style for strong, which will be font weight var font weight bold. Is bold what we are using in other places? Yes, it's what we use, for instance, here. And it is a good practice to make this stand out in terms of color just the tiniest bit. So I'm going to say that the color for this guy is our gray warm that we are using everywhere. But instead of the 700 of our base page, so if you go to, you can see that, oh, not 700.
We're using 200.
It is 200. So let's go to 15, which will make this stand out in terms of color just the tiniest bit. And then for M's, we are going to say that they have a font style of italic.
Cool.
And am I still running this? Yes, it is generated, it has finished. I clicked on the link for whatever reason. If I refresh this, then the bolds and italics have been preserved. And of course, there's still more work to do, like the distance between the paragraphs is incorrect, and there's still a lot more to do. And we have some junk images in the middle, but it's not bad. Could be worse.
It's incredible. Yeah, it's incredible what you have done in like under 90 minutes.
And I will have to wrap this up in a couple minutes. I promise that I wouldn't take too much on this stream today. Too much time in this stream today. So let's commit the migration script and our change to the CSS. But everything else I'm going to leave behind. First, because it's easy to regenerate. Just rerun the migration script. But also because we still have to do some more work to finish the migration. So let's see. So yeah, all of these changes, we can just ignore them for now. Okay, so there is one more trick that I may want to try. I don't think it will be super difficult to do this. Yeah, let's give this a try, and I will probably go over a few minutes, but it's all right. So what I want is, right now, we have a Markdown file, which is just a dump of this div, which is like a bunch of junk, right? What if we could just get the contents transformed into Markdown? We did something similar to this. Remember in a previous stream, you had a bio that was in an RTF file, and I pasted it somewhere, and I transformed it into Markdown? Well, we can use the remark library to do something related to that. We can transform HTML into Markdown. So I think that that will clean up a bunch of things. So it's just an experiment. I want to see what that looks like. So I think what I'm going to need is, I think I'm going to need rehype. That will parse the HTML. So I'm going to start installing libraries for migration. npm install, but I need to be smart about the version of rehype. I think that's how I pronounce that. I need to get a version that is older and that doesn't have ECMAScript modules. So 12 is the version I don't want. So I think I want 801 or maybe 11. 11 seems good. So I'll install rehype at 11. That should give me rehype parse. That's the one I want. And then I will want remark rehype. Can I go the other way around? Can I do rehype? Remark. That is going to transform from HTML to Markdown. So yes, there is an extension for this. And I have to install a particular version that is not 9, so 811. And I am also going to need just remark stringify, which will transform Markdown into a string that we can actually look at. So let's go to there, and the releases, look for ESM, and we don't want 14, we want 13. Okay, so we have all the stuff we need in the migration dependencies. Now let's change our script. So right now it's just getting the inner HTML, which is a string, and this string is HTML. So right now we have HTML in here. How about we just start calling the hype stuff? I am going to need hype parse. Can you give me like the parse library? Do I have to install it by hand or something?
I think it showed up. There was just no dash on it.
Yeah, that is weird. Hype parse. I think that auto-completion isn't working, but the library is there. So yes, we are gonna parse, and then I also want unified at a particular version to bind all of this together. So I want this version. Okay, so I'm gonna start with unified, then a parser, then hype remark, and then remark stringify. Is this a library? Or is it part of some other library? Let's see. Remark stringify. It is a library and my autocompletion isn't working. Okay, so to stitch all of this together, I can say or maybe I'll just have something that is not in the loop. It's silly to do that in the loop. Maybe I'll have it like over here. So I'm gonna call this HTML to Markdown. And I'm going to use these three guys in order. And then over here, I can call my HTML to markdown.process. I'm gonna go process sync. And then what is this going to give me? Something like a V file. What can I do with a V file? Probably .contents or toString. I think I'll just call toString on that. Now, the chance of this working is very small because remember last time how much I had to fight with Remark to make things work, but we'll see. Node migrate. Now, at least it didn't blow up. Let's look at the Markdown file that it generated. Okay, so that's not bad, right?
Yeah.
Got rid of a lot of that HTML junk, and of course, there's still some junk in there. For one thing, the title is here again. Now, that should be easy to fix. Why do I have the title? Because my selection of tag wasn't good enough. Right now, I'm getting a hold of like the article, but can I get a hold of what is under the article?
Well, because we had the title added separately by using just the title.
Yes.
So what if we remove that, but it's in the article? I guess it's like the same results either way.
Yeah, we can do that, but I think I can get a hold of just this using this post description thing. I think it contains the post and only the post. Let's see. Yeah. So how about we just get a hold of this data hook post description stuff? Let's go into our selector, which is this guy here. And instead of selecting that, we select this. And then we run the migration again, and we take a peek at this file as it changes before our eyes with just the content of the post.
Cool.
And some junk, because why not? But this is not bad.
Yeah, this is great.
Let's go up. Let's start the server again. npm start. And just wait a little. And then it's super fast again, because now we are not doing a lot of stuff with parsing hundreds of thousands of lines of HTML. And then we refresh this, and this is not looking bad. It's not looking awesome. It's not perfect. There's like some junk in there that we can try to get rid of. And it seems like it broke some things that were working before.
Yeah, some of the headers, I guess, became like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's an option. We can investigate whether this is worth it or not.
Cool.
I'm curious to see what went wrong with this. Yeah, it got some of the bodes wrong. So you can see that remark is not perfect in converting HTML into Markdown, it seems. So we may decide in the end that it's better to just use the dump of HTML. I don't think that you go into the posts and change them too much, right?
No, almost never.
Yeah, so
unless I like figure out that I just explained something wrong like 3 months later, but even in that case, it would be like a text change.
Yeah. So worst comes to worst, we just don't transform this into Markdown. But I'll leave the script here for now because we have that option if we want to use it. I am going to also commit the package.json stuff so that if you want to run the migration on your machine, it's easy to do. Just go into the migration folder, npm install, and run migrate.js. Everything else in here has been generated, so we can ignore. And I don't think I broke anything on the page. Let's see if I go like this. Yeah, everything in here is all right, so I can push. And with that, I think it's time to say goodbye for now.
Sure. Any homework for me?
Probably.
Okay, tell me, hit me.
Let's see what is on the README for now. I think you already did this, right?
I did that, yeah.
Can we have a link that when you click it, it auto copies my GitHub repository link? Yeah, sure, we can have that.
Cool. Very, very minor, like cosmetic stuff, really. Because right now you just click on the GitHub icon, and then you go to the page, go to my repo, and then from there, the link to that you need to copy is right there. It's just below on the README page, which is fine as well.
Yeah, I mean, there is a reason to have a GitHub repository here instead of just this link. The reason being, I may want to contribute to your repack repository, right? So this is a fine link. If I'm reusing your scripts and then I notice a mistake and then I want to contribute back, I can just go to your website, click on this link, and I'm there. So it's up to you, whatever you want to do. If you want, we can have one of those things that look like this little widget where you click and it copies. So we can create a widget like this.
Yeah, it's super minor, but like would be cool. Then I guess, yeah, for the testimonials and stuff, like I want to like try some new designs, but I also don't want to take your time with that. Like really, once we're done with the blog, I want to get back to our video processor stuff and all those things, and then just kind of like maybe just get my hands dirty with some design stuff. And if I broke something, I guess I can ask you always.
Sure, yeah. So, okay, in terms of homework, I'm not going to leave this as homework to you because I think that
will be tough.
It will not be difficult, but I don't think it's necessarily content based. It's more like styling kind of thing. So we can deal with this together. It isn't hard. There is one styling thing that you can fix, which is git hub is spelled GitHub, and this is like a telltale sign of you're not in the group, so you want to fix this capitalization.
Cool.
Yeah. Add content for most pages except blog. How is that coming along? Well, I think.
Yeah, content is there. Actually, my reel I still need to finish, but I'm redoing a couple of my reels, and I may update my testimonials and stuff like that. And then for the contact page, I actually am not sure like what to put in there. I have some like boilerplate text, but I guess I would need a form of some kind.
Oh, that could be fun. So you could create a form. That could be a fun exercise for you. So this is a low-hanging fruit that is easy to do. And adding content for most pages, I'm going to leave this below. But what you can do is, I guess, migrate the new posts by hand. So now you already kind of know how to do this. What you have to do is you have to go into the blog folder, or I didn't commit this. So you're going to have to create a blog folder, create a folder for the post, and then write an index.md file in there. And you can write the markdown for the new blog posts that you have written since the migration started.
It was just that one. Yeah, I'll give it a go. I'll try it. Cool.
All right. And then in terms of the contact, that's some fun exercise for you to learn. You can go to my favorite source, which is MDN, or you can find whatever other source you want. And this stuff is stuff that you can put anywhere. For instance, here is your index page. You can just put this stuff anywhere. And if my server is still running, which it is, then go to the home page and a form is there. Now, it's a silly form because the styles are not cool. You can type there and everything, but there is no box around and no nothing. But at least the structure of the form with the fields that you care about, that's something you can do.
Cool. Okay.
And we can work on the styles together.
Should I do this on the index.md, or should I just make like a contact and then on the contact make an index?
Yeah, make a contact folder in there, create index.markdown, and then in there you paste in your form. So
cool.
Hello, get in touch, whatever.
Sure.
So that's a good assignment for you. And then you already did this. So
yeah. Maybe I'll make an image for our custom 404 or something.
There you go. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Sounds good. Thank you as always, Leandro. This is truly invaluable stuff, and we're almost there. And we can do video processors and all those things. People are writing me and they're like, why don't you do more scripting stuff? And I'm like, actually, nobody watches the scripting stuff. So, but I'll do more so that you cannot watch it.
Yeah. And people who want to see Reaper scripting can go to, like, tomorrow on my channel. There will be more of this. I will be working on my trusty library for JS effects, and I'll keep doing that. On Wednesday, we'll record some more together, but then on Thursday and Friday, I'll be doing that. And yeah, I think that's it. Any final messages?
No. Yeah, that's it. I will see you on Wednesday. Yeah, I'll see you Wednesday for some audio production stuff.
All right. Thank you very much, Arya, for letting me play around with your website and test all my tools and techniques with your material. And
of course.
Thank you all who support us on like all the different ways, just by being here, going to Buy Me a Coffee, PayPal, Patreon. You know what to do. And I see you on the next one. Bye.